Welcome to Cash Call. Listen live as expert sales trainers give actionable feedback on real calls while you learn coaching tips directly from the professionals. It's Cash Call. Dale Archdekin, Brian Curtis back again for another week. And Mom, when the subtitles append by Facebook, yes, I know they misspell my last name. You don't have to text me after this, okay? All right, Brian, every single week, my mom's like, they misspelled your name again. Oh, Mom, it's auto-generated. Thank you very much. I appreciate you looking out for me. So she'll get
it's personal for her, so we appreciate that.
Listen, I know, but I can't change it. Facebook does it, shoot Facebook. But today, Brian, I have a really good call, man. I have one of our an ISA that's in training with us. She did a really good job. She's like fighting, and she did a really good technical execution of getting into a conversation and going through objections, this person trying to say no or not yet or not now, right? And I think it's just a really good example. And, I've definitely been critiqued in the past that I'm excellent at finding what's wrong and don't often point out what's right. And so I'm pointing out what's right here, okay? Turning over a new leaf, everybody.
Yeah, it's interesting when they say that about people who are really smart. You have to be careful with them because they will screw up your meetings and your systems because they find every little nuanced hole in it. So, but if you're willing to take that critical feedback from Dale, it's great feedback. It just I struggle from the same thing. Like I always see the problem, and I see opportunities too, but it's easy to find the problem because we know specifically what we're looking for and we're sorting against it. That's all we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'll share my screen. We'll get to it. Share my sound. There we go. Okay, cool. Here we go. So the intro's a little bit rocky, but then it gets good. And I want you to listen to how she executes this. Give me a thumbs up when you hear it.
Hello, this is Eric.
Hello, Eric. This is Chantel with First Team. We spoke with you sometime last year. You said that you were looking to purchase a home in San Clemente?
No, no longer. No longer.
Okay. What changed your mind?
Just right now is not the right time for me.
Okay. I completely get that. What would make it the right time for you? What needs to happen before you're able to get back?
What would make it the right time for you? That's excellent, man. She's not being shaken. She's like a dog with a bone here. I'm going to keep playing it.
Needs to drop. Interest rate needs to drop.
And how much would you like to see it drop by?
I would say in the fours, fives or fours.
Fives or fours. Okay. Awesome. And when do you think that's going to happen?
I don't know. I don't.
This girl is crushing it. Like, this is what we teach, man. She's not making him wrong. She's not arguing. She's not taking it. She does not give a shit that this guy's saying no, not yet. The interest rates, right? He's not rattling her cage, man. And I'm like deeply, I feel like a brand new father. You know what I mean? Like, we taught this, she executed it, and this is Christmas for me listening to this.
Nice. Yeah, no, I hear exactly what you're saying. If I had a critique, because Dale said he's not going to critique, so I'll do it. I would just like her to transition a little bit. And here's what I mean by that. I think he said the interest rates were da-da-da. Great. What interest rate would you like? She said. So, she might just soften it up a little. Out of curiosity, what would you feel might be an acceptable interest rate versus what we currently have now? So just softening it a little bit, but that's art. That's just a little tiny thing. And I like that stuff because depending on the person, like, again, I lived in the South for 20 years. You've got to soften things up in the South. Yeah. You can't just hit people over the head. It's not New York. Yeah. So understanding your audience, it may matter. Like some places, what I just did, people are like, oh my God, get to the point. So understand your audience at the same point in time. But I like a little bit of softness to that because it just makes it feel a little less scripted.
Yeah, so I agree 100%. Absolutely. And what I would say is anybody listening, if you can at least get to that level of not getting shaken and knocked off the phone or giving up, then we can talk about what Brian just said, which is softening you up a little bit more, working on your transitions. And you can absolutely do that once you can get the blocking and tackling down. And she did a really great job of blocking and tackling.
Well, and to Dale's point, that's the thing. Like, most people wouldn't have the opportunity to even do the transition because they wouldn't be willing to ask the question.
Oh,
Most
yeah.
people just give up. Oh, I'm waiting for the interest rates to go down. All right, another one of these idiots who doesn't know what they're thinking about. I appreciate it. I'll call you when interest rates drop. You know, that kind of that. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but there's a lot of that goes on
Yeah.
because people get lost.
Right. And Brian, that was a 4-minute and 21-second call that started out with, I'm not looking anymore. I'm not interested anymore. And then went to, I need the interest rates to drop, turned into a 4-minute, 21-second call where they actually got the appointment with this potential buyer. And so like, that's why my company does what we do, and probably why you do what you do. Right.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, because here's the thing, like I've been training this. We do role play every Wednesday. So I kind of warm up for cash call with my own team doing role play. But the objections that are coming up, and if you're out there, these are objections you need to handle. This is one I didn't see coming, but this is one we started to get. Why should I pay that much for that house? This guy only paid X.
Oh yeah.
So,
Just heard that one yesterday.
So literally someone saying, well, this guy bought a house for $500,000. It's for sale for 900,000. Well, why should they charge so much? And if we think about that from that perspective, how insane that is. Oh, so if you bought it for 500,000 and it was now worth 900, you would just simply sell it for 500 because you're a nice guy and you don't like $400,000.
Right.
You know, it's 100% illogical and has nothing to do with anything, but it's an objection we have to overcome, right? And then of course we're hearing the same ones that were reoccurring, which is the interest rates are too high. And I want you guys to think about this. If you can convince somebody that it's better to buy with a higher interest rate than a lower interest rate, you can succeed in this market. And by the way, I can convince you it's better to buy it out with a higher interest rate than a lower interest rate. And I just referenced 2021. Most of you couldn't buy anyway. It wasn't even an option. You didn't have $50K in cash to pay over the appraised value. You weren't willing to waive the home inspection. You weren't willing to, so if that happens, then we're gonna have to go back to those. So anyway, those are things that, if in my opinion, you have to know how to handle in this market. So
yeah, absolutely. What do you got for us today, Brian?
I've got a call. It's got some interesting stuff. Depending on where we're at on time, I definitely want to play the last 1 minute for sure, but I'm going to start at the beginning. It's a Zillow call. It starts out nothing special, but it kind of goes sideways on the agent. The agent doesn't lose their mind or anything, but I think there's some opportunity for some improvement in the way it was handled. Again, they handled it fine. I would have just liked to see them handle it slightly differently. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and play this, Dale, and let me know if you can hear it.
With Curtis Realty Group. Zillow just reached out to me and said that you have a property that you would like to tour. Is that correct?
Well, not tour. I'm not sure. It just said, reach out if you want to contact the real estate office or the realtor regarding this property. And I did want to talk to you about it, but I can't tour it because I live in another state right now. So.
Oh, okay. That's completely okay. And honestly, we do a lot of virtual tours, so that doesn't, sometimes.
I'd pause that. Yeah, I'm here. Maybe we should unshare you for a second.
Go ahead, try now.
Okay. Yep, we're good. I don't hear myself. Yeah, so with that, I wouldn't immediately start offering things. I would just keep the microphone in his hand, right? I'm out of town. I can't tour it, but I wanted to talk about the property. Great. What would you like to talk about? Right? Or how can I help you? As just a very simple question.
And one of the things I want everyone in the audience to note, Dale and I still wrote that down. And here's what I mean by that. In my head, I want to offer this guy a virtual tour. I want to offer him a video tour. I want to offer him something that I can provide value. But this is a mistake that it's not an objection per se, but it's the same kind of mistake people make with objections is they want to immediately solve the problem.
Right.
It may not even be a real problem.
Right.
And it might be something, but how cool is it if you build rapport, find all this stuff out in the end and go, hey, Dale, by the way, one of the things we do for a lot of our clients, and I'm happy to do it for you, is to literally go out to the house. We'll set up a time. I'll FaceTime. I'll walk you through the house. You can answer me questions. So you're showing a value to that person. And we have to be okay a little bit more as salespeople with not getting everything to be yes immediately. Have
Right.
some patience.
Yeah. And if I suggested, how can I help you? A lot of times when somebody's looking for something and I don't know what they want or how pre-sold or not they are, or where we're at in the buying cycle, how can I help you is just a great question. Now, you and I constantly talk about, hey, you're not an info desk. Exactly. 9 times out of 10, we aren't. But if somebody comes to me and they're wanting something and they aren't immediately clear about exactly what they want or how sold they are on getting it from me, I like to start with, how can I help you? I even use that sometimes. Hopefully nobody here is listening that ever inquires about doing training with us, because I'm going to tell you a little secret. Sometimes when like a team leader comes, right, and they're like, oh, hey, we want to increase our lead conversion, and my agents kind of suck, and we really need to buckle down and get better systems. I don't pitch. I'm just like, and so how do you believe I can help you? And they tell me how to sell them. Okay, like that's what you do. It's just a great sales technique to use.
Well, and it's funny because at the end we're going to hear something, and I've been teaching something over the last I don't know, probably month now, and I'm calling it, and it's something I created from something I learned that didn't have to do with real estate, so it's a long version of that. But what we're doing is we're eliciting people's values. And that's kind of what Dale's talking about here. We're trying to find out what's important to these people. And I think, and we've talked about 2021 so much, but I'm just going to talk about it some more. I think some of the bad habits that we picked up then is we stopped going deep with our clients. We stopped trying to find out what their needs are or what they value. And here's the great thing. If I can figure out what Dale values, you know what I do? I just talk to that constantly.
Right.
Brian, I really value an agent that follows up with me regularly. Hey, Dale, it's Brian. I'm just checking in, following up like I mentioned I would. I mean, literally, I just talk to exactly what they want, and they'll like me because they didn't tell me what to do, but they did tell me what to do if I listened. Dale and I will also talk about the next question, the next logical step, go that one step deeper. If I know what's important to people, I just keep reminding them that I remember over and
Right.
over and over again, and they like me for that. And why wouldn't they? I'm giving them exactly what they want. So it's not a trick. It's actually listening and doing what your client wants, right? Who knew?
Exactly.
So.
It is.
All right, let's play a little bit more of this.
We'll go through and either we can take videotape of it, or sometimes we'll do like a FaceTime or Facebook video.
So I did make a note, guys. This agent's my age. I'll just say that. The videotape doesn't exist anymore.
Well, I want you to ask her, do you do it on VHS or beta? I'm not sure which.
It's beta, yeah.
Beta.
Where you can see the property live. But
it might be
name of the address again.
Oh yeah. Let's see. I'm sorry. It's 3 Cranfield Lane in Bella Vista.
Awesome, Cranfield. Okay, thank you for that.
But yeah, the reason I wanted to reach out to somebody about that particular property is because it like checks all my boxes for what I'm looking for, and I'm probably going to be moving to that area after July.
Okay.
I just think they said it was going to be ready late April, so it looks like I'm probably going to miss that opportunity on that one. Because I'll be selling my house. I mean, the one I love.
A note that I would have made. Yeah,
a note that I want to say something. We still don't know what the hell this guy wants or why he's reached out to us. We know he's interested in it, but he hasn't told us what he wants.
Well, he told me he's interested in this house. I cut a little bit of this, just so you know, because
you trimmed it.
Okay.
It
was like a 9-minute phone call that I cut down to 4 because there was a lot of back and not bad stuff. There was good rapport building, but basically he wants this house.
Okay.
And he's a single guy. He's 47 years old. He wants this house. He loves this house. And I looked it up. It's a pretty house. I can understand why he would want it. It's only 1,300 square feet. So, he's a single guy. It's high-end, low square footage, which is kind of hard to find, right? In most markets. So anyway, that's what that's about, and fair enough. She will do some discovery, but the interesting thing is coming up, and I'd really love to hear Dale's take on it, and just talk about it a little bit.
First of all, I love the design of it. Secondly, it's right next to
Here we go. We're doing
bike
some of this.
trails, which is my second.
Okay.
priority.
Have you been to Northwest Arkansas yet for the biking?
So I'm flying out there next month. I've never been.
My goodness.
Yeah, I have friends that live there.
Can you pause for a second? Okay, I just want to talk about something real quick for people. There's two kinds of conversation types of people. There's the talk over each other people, and there's the take turn people. Your agent is talking over this guy, and this guy's taking turns. If you're a take turn person, it pisses us off when people talk over us, right? So you talk over people, you need to listen, and you need to hold on to your ADHD and just stop talking over people, right? That's one, it's like a pet peeve, and I want to point that out because typically people who take turns in conversation, it's almost like the justice system, right? You're supposed to take turns. I waited for you, you wait for me.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. My ex-wife's family, the first time I got together with a whole bunch of them, they were good people. I'm going to tell you here to talk bad about anybody, but they all talked over each other and it drove me nuts. Like literally there's like 7 people talking simultaneously.
Yeah.
And they thought that was good. They were having a good time. My
I know.
head was ready to explode, but they were like, this is regular.
I
And
know.
so
I know.
wrong.
Well, I want to tell a story. My wife is half Italian. So when I would go to dinner at their house, everybody would be like, bah, 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 bah. And I'm waiting for an opening. And of course, there's no openings, right? It's like trying to merge into traffic during rush hour. Like there's no, you make an opening, which it took me a while to figure out. But before I started making openings, they're like, Carmel, he doesn't say much, does he? And I'm like, I'm waiting. I wasn't invited.
Right. So really good catch. It's funny. I wrote the same thing. Now I take notes just like Dale does before the calls. And I wrote, be careful talking over him. That's literally in one of my notes.
Yeah,
so
that's so funny.
It's important.
Great minds, Brian.
And ours too. Okay. So.
And I work from home now. And
Okay.
So I've been to it, and I've done a lot of research, and basically everything that comes up says that place would probably be a good fit for me. So I'm looking into it. And the number one priority I have is that I have to have high-speed internet for my job.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I mean, that place is pretty high up there in Bella Vista, so I'm assuming it does, but who knows? It's being built.
Typically, Bella Vista. I grew up in
I'm
Bella
going
Vista.
to fast forward a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, but he says those words. So, and also just reach out to. Actually, I know the Robinsons. Okay. The listing.
So one of the things that she did give away, and I cut it, is that she wasn't the listing agent. And we talked about this. I'm going to get with the seller and find out what kind of information I can get. Oftentimes they have, because here's the thing, this guy wants to move in like July. This is a new construction house that the approximate completion date is the end of April. Well, anybody who knows anything about new construction knows that never once has a new construction home been finished on time.
It's not going to be ready at the end of April.
Well, and so one of the things that she doesn't do during this call, if he's in love with this house, like he loves it. And honestly, it's a relatively unique house in our market. I would still try and get it under contract. Like, I understand that you can't move until July, all this kind of stuff. Let's try and get it under contract, and you have a fighting chance. I'm not saying it's going to work, because you got a long-term, contingency, but hell, maybe the thing's not even going to be done until August. They'll be thrilled to have it under contract starting in July. Who knows?
Did you listen to the whole call?
I did.
Okay. Where does the guy live now?
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember what state he lives in, but he lives a ways. Like it's California.
He did tell her, but he did tell her. Okay.
California. Yeah.
Did she ask the crazy question, which is, can you get on a plane and come out and look at it and write an offer on this thing?
She didn't. And that's what I'm saying. We didn't take the opportunity to at least take a shot at getting this house. He made the assumption that he couldn't have this house. Like, you heard him say it. Like, I know I got to wait and sell my house until July. Here's what's one of the things that sales is about. People like people who solve their problem.
Yeah.
Oftentimes in sales, we actually create a problem so we can solve it, right?
Right.
Now, this guy
That's called
gave
marketing.
this guy gave her the problem, and she didn't attempt to directly solve it. She kind of came up with some other stuff. We'll set you up in listing alerts, do all that kind of stuff, but she doesn't solve the problem. But the interesting part is about to come up, so let's listen to that. And I just want people to focus on, we've got to solve people's problems. When we solve people's problems, that's how we get paid.
I've worked with him before. We were in the same brokerage for a while. So, yeah, so I can give Larry a call and just
So I'm going to skip ahead to this where I think it's important. Here we go.
a little bit in the way.
I really appreciate that. The only thing I was going to say is like, I haven't.
So what she just said is basically, I'll do this stuff to be your agent, and then listen to his response, because I think it's important.
A little bit in the way.
I really appreciate that. The only thing I was going to say is like, I haven't. I mean, I was just kind of reaching out to Zillow just to get information about this particular build and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to commit. I don't mean this to be rude at all. I don't want to commit to a realtor just yet.
That's
because
perfectly fine.
Okay. I don't want, I hate to tell people like, you know, because I do want to, I have friends that live there and they were going to recommend people.
Sure.
I'm not saying I'm going to go with them either. I just want to
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? My job is to earn your business. And so, you know, I'm going to just keep providing you with information that you need. But at the end of the day, that's your decision who, you know, and I'd love to have my hat in the ring. But yeah, we live and die on our relationships with people. So I totally understand that, and can understand you wanting to kind of keep it open for right now.
Yeah, and I'm not asking you to do free work for me either. I don't want you to feel like that. So,
So I want to point out a couple of things. When people are really pushing back on, I don't want you to do anything for me, what I hear is, I believe in the law of reciprocity, and if you do something for me, I'm going to have to do something in return. So that's just an interesting point there. There's only a couple seconds left in this, but I wanted to just point that out, as he really doesn't want the help because he's afraid that's going to cause commitment.
He doesn't want to feel obligated. Yeah.
Yep.
Feel that way at all. No, we're a premier partner with Zillow, and they take really good care of us, and we take really good care of their clients. And so
what you do when you hear that is you don't have to do all of this where you're justifying doing it. You say, I completely understand. I get it. And then you proceed to do lots of shit for them so that they become then obligated to you emotionally.
Agreed. And here's another thing, and this is kind of goes back to that values thing I was talking about a few minutes ago. Ask them what they're looking for in an agent. Like the guy just said, I don't know what I want in an agent. I'm going to talk to some people who know some people. What do you want? Like, what are you looking for? You know, how can we help? Let's make sure we meet this guy's wants and needs. And if he tells her that, and even if he's not willing to sign an agency agreement right now, she knows how to communicate with him. Oh, she knows that he expects this. He expects this. This is important. Whatever the case may be, I just feed that stuff back to him. It's an opportunity to win. And it's like somebody giving you the script. This is how to sell me. Read off the script. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
But you've got to ask the question to get the script, right?
Right. Exactly. We have Scott Feigner wrote, what about offering to reimburse his flight if he actually wins the offer? I think that's a great idea. I think the first thing you do is, and that's a good way to make things work potentially. But, you know, if the guy's able to financially swing it, could potentially, you know, make an offer, win the bid, and somehow make it work financially, then
Bridge loan.
What's that?
Bridge loans, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Then get his ass on a plane. But you got to ask first. If you don't ask, the answer is no, right? You're at no unless you ask.
Well, and here's the thing too. I know 3 years ago this wasn't real popular, but now people are used to this. I can't tell you how many houses we sold without looking at them.
Yeah,
a lot.
It does happen frequently.
Yeah, we didn't do it a lot before COVID, but during COVID, we sold houses all the time without people looking at them.
Yeah. We still run into the issue of people seeing it in person and changing their minds, or, you know, getting weird about stuff after that happens. In this case, yeah, that could potentially happen if he can't get on a plane. I would try to get this guy to write an offer, seen or sight unseen, if he can swing it.
Absolutely. But to Dale's point and kind of my point earlier, we've got to give this guy some more options that move him in the direction that we want him to go. We want him to write an offer on this house. We want him to pick us as our agent. We want him to work with, these are some of the things that we want. And we really left that hanging out. Now, I will say this, the agent tried to button it up. I cut a little bit of it out. That I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this and do this. Like she tried to do that, but when the client pivoted, she didn't pivot.
Yeah,
That's what I'm seeing. She didn't switch to, oh, great. So what are you looking for in an agent? I can do these things for you. It's okay. I do them for clients all the time. I'm going to try and earn your business. Hopefully, when you interview several agents, I'll be one of those and then I can win.
yeah.
I mean, these are things that you can say, and she kind of implied some of that stuff, but be stronger is really what I'm getting at.
And I would honestly, if she happens to be watching this, hopefully, if not, Brian, bring it back to her and just say, hey, listen, here's what you got to do. If they talk over you, you have permission to talk over them. If they wait for you, you have to wait for them. That's just the rule.
And it's hard, especially for thers people who are talker overers.
Yeah.
So the talker overers talk too much. And then the people like Dale and I sit there for 45 minutes and wonder when the hell we're going to get our turn.
Well, all right. So let's give some instruction on that, because there's a couple of times when you can violate the rule, right? Brian, I'm a turn taker. You're a turn taker, but I'm going to call you and I want you to try to push me off the phone. Okay.
Okay.
Ring, ring.
This is Brian.
Hey, Brian, this is Dale Archdekin with Whatever Realty. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good, Dale, but I'm in the middle of something. Really didn't even mean to answer my phone.
Oh, no problem, man. I totally get it. Listen, I just wanted to find out if you're looking to purchase a home in the near future or if you're just window shopping.
I'm thinking about it, but I don't really have the moment to discuss it right now. I really do need to go.
No problem. No problem. You see how I'm stepping on the end of his words? I'm getting in there before he can finish the thought in the sentence because he's trying to get rid of me.
Yep.
That's an instance where I will step on the end of something because I need to move this quicker and I need to change the topic and get him to keep him from just going click. If I let him finish, he's going to assume he has permission to get off the phone with me. If I keep talking, then I can quickly shift the concept and his brain will at least continue listening long enough to figure out, do I need to listen to this or not?
Yeah. And yeah, you're not going to win all the time on that, but you'll lose 100% of the time if you don't.
You'll lose 100% of the time if you don't. And I'm a turn taker. The point was, I'm pointing out to people listening, there are times when you violate that. There's times when I violate that. Or for instance, even if you're in a really sort of impassioned objection handling attempt, where somebody's resisting you, I'll violate it there too, where I'll just sort of really try to drive the concept home and it gets muddy and passionate. But otherwise, most of the time it's turn taking, especially if you're listening to somebody. Yeah.
And by the way, you need to do more turn taking as an agent because they need to know that you're listening to them. It makes they want that. And my exceptions, I agree with what Dale said. Also, sometimes we just have to push forward. And I'll say this, Dale, I apologize for cutting you off, but we've got to be at that next house in 7 minutes and it's a 10-minute drive. So yeah. I'd love to hear what you got to say, but we got to move forward or we're not going to be able to see that house. You told me that was your favorite one. So yep. There are times when people get so far off track, I'll come up with a reason to break that. And then because I don't care about your sister and your dog and your aunt and what you had for dinner. And some people do that. And, and so you have to come up with a reason to do it. You can't just go, Dale, I'm sick of hearing your stupid story. We got to go. You can't say that.
Yeah. Here's my technique. Brian, I'm sorry. I have to apologize, man. I've taken up so much of your time already and I'd love to hear the rest of this, but I do have to let you go. Right. And goodbye.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Oh, we're over. Look at this. An additional 4 minutes of goodness for all those people listening out there. Hopefully you guys got something out of this today. What do you think, Brian? Should they go forth and say smart things to people? I think that's a good idea.
I would,
We need to talk about what we do, right? We do. We're remiss. We don't often talk about what we do. So Brian and I both have respective coaching companies. I know a lot of people are like, what do they do? Do they work together? Are they the same company? How does this work? Sure. So Brian has a company. I have a company. Brian, why don't you tell them if they wanted to reach out to you, what you offer and how you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll put a number in the chat just so anybody can have that. And that's just a phone number that you can reach out to me. It's dedicated for coaching clients. Don't call it. No one's going to answer it. But if you send a text message or just have you want some information, I'll be happy to reach back out to you or have somebody on our staff reach back out. But we're offering 1 hour, what we call business consultation sessions, because there's a lot of people, and there's no cost for that, who we can help them tweak just a little thing in their business, and it gives them a lot of benefit. And my business for the most part is focused on building teams, communication, and then mindset. I do a ton of mindset stuff. That's where I think a lot of people are lacking. And Dale and I have a little bit of a crossover, but not much. And I'll let him talk about what he does. But yeah, if you're looking for somebody to help in those areas, whether you have a team or wanting to build a team, would love to have a conversation with you. The worst thing is I'll give you an hour free advice.
Yeah, great. And so we are Smart Sales Coaching. As a lot of people know, we have Conversion University as our course, and we specialize in scripting and dialogue training for agents and ISAs. And so we offer a skill assessment where you can jump on with one of our trainers, go through some basic blocking and tackling between intros, objection handling, and closing for appointments. And they'll give you feedback on how you're doing in your skills and where you might be able to brush them up. The other place that we do that we specialize is building sales teams and optimizing sales teams. And so we have an ISA suitability assessment. If you have a team or you're thinking about getting an ISA or even have an ISA, basically you can jump on with a trainer and they can either determine whether you're ready to implement inside sales or how you can improve what you're doing around inside sales right now. So you can just hit us up, email sales@smartsalescoaching.com if you want to inquire about that stuff. So it's in the chat, everybody. You can call Brian Curtis or you can hit us up on smartsalescoaching.com, sales@smartsalescoaching.com. And that's it for Cash Call this week, everybody. Thank you so much for learning.
Awesome. Dale, I appreciate it. And yeah, I'm excited. I think that I think some of our great audience, maybe we can help them some more. And if not, hopefully they'll refer us to some other people we can help. So love this group of people. It's been fun doing Cash Call, and excited to see everybody next week.
Absolutely. All right. Bye. See you next week. Thanks for listening to Cash Call today. If you like what you heard, come check us out at smartsalescoaching.com, and we'll be back again next week.